So the Friday the 13th box set is coming out really soon, and well, I've been thinking about Friday the 13th a lot. And I thought it would be fun to talk about an entry in the series today. I mean, sue me, I'm excited for the box set. But I was thinking about Jason Takes Manhattan, and not in this review sense, because, it's 2020. I don't need to review Jason Takes Manhattan. But what I want to talk about this film in a sense, because Jason Takes Manhattan is very interesting to me, and it's very important to me as a Friday the 13th fan. Do I honestly think Jason Takes Manhattan is a good movie? No, but if somebody asks me, "Hey Christian, do you like Jason Takes Manhattan?" My answer is, "Oh yeah, great movie. I love Jason Takes Manhattan." Why is that? Why is that? Because I'm not alone. I know that there are many people that feel that way. What is it about Jason Takes Manhattan that I guess pulls on the heartstrings of a lot of Friday fans? I think it's a lot of peripheral things. I mean, when Friday the 13th for the Paramount stuff, it's so linear. It's so next chapter. It's what I think is so important to why this franchise is a success. And I think the lineage up to part 8, and it's the end of an era, because New Line took over Jason in the 90s and in the 2000s and so on and so forth. But the Paramount tapes ended in a single decade, and you start just 9 years earlier, and with the first Friday the 13th, and it was this amazing, lovely film that everybody loves. Everybody loves the original Friday the 13th, and we traveled through the 80s with this franchise, and we end with the Paramount tapes of Jason Takes Manhattan in 1989. There's something symbolic about that. There's something just like tender about that, and I think a lot of reasons that I'm a fan of Jason Takes Manhattan, the reason I love the film, is peripheral things, the elements to the film, the theme around the movie, how we got here, what it represents, and how it's a bookend in a sense on Jason, from what we have known. And because after that, things changed. Clearly, with Jason Goes to Hell, it really got in a different direction. But part 8 has this bookend to it in a sense. Obviously the film's ending is odd. I'm not necessarily talking about the film's ending per se, but what the film does and where it goes. One of my favorite things about Jason Takes Manhattan, and I know a lot of fans love this, is that song "Darkest Side of the Night." The darkest side of the night burns like a fire for the wasted light. I just love that song. I can listen to it all the time. And what's interesting about that song, "Darkest Side of the Night," is whenever you hear it, you're instantly flooded with the memories of those movies. Have you ever marathoned the Friday the 13th franchise, and let's say they were on over a weekend? Because I've done this before, and this is a perfect example. I remember back in 2014, Sci-Fi did a marathon of the Friday the 13th movies, and my dad was telling me about it, and we decided to watch them. And we were watching them, and we were in and out, obviously, because we had stuff going on throughout the weekend. But I remember we started out Friday night watching 1 and a little bit of 2, and so on and so forth. Well, it came to Sunday night, and we finished A New Blood, and I think they did them in 3 days. But the part of this I'm trying to get to is on Sunday, I had to go to work the next day. My dad had to go to work, and it was 9 o'clock, and we were halfway through Jason Takes Manhattan. And I just that when you're in that movie, you think about how you got there, and you think about all the movies, and you're flooded with the love of that franchise. And when that Darkest Side song kicks in, you hear it, and it's a powerful song because it really just shows how we got here and the history of the franchise. It's weird. Maybe I'm going on a really big stretch on this, but this is how I feel about that song. And the beauty of that song is when you hear that song in the beginning of the movie, it sounds a certain way. When you hear that song at the end of Jason Takes Manhattan, The Darkest Side of the Night, it's a goodbye. The song sounds totally different to me. It's got a totally different feel to it. I can't really explain it, but it just does. After, the dog comes back up from the subway and they walk out into the distance and you hear that song come back in, it sounds totally different to me. It's like a goodbye, and that's the sound of Jason, ending in the Paramount legacy. And I think a lot of those peripheral things is why a lot of us kind of, give Jason Takes Manhattan a pass. There's a lot of elements to it that are so important to us. It's the end of the Paramount tapes. It's the end of the 80s. It's the end of an era. It's the end of an era. It's remarkable. And I mean, of course, when it comes to the movie, there are things I love. Obviously, Julius getting his head knocked off into the trash can is great. The characters are just silly and wacky. It's just all the tropes of the 80s are in this movie. The movie's on a boat. It's supposed to be Jason Takes Manhattan. By no fault of the director, they cut the budget. He couldn't do this. And the movie had, a slew of problems from Paramount, from the start. They just wanted them to make this movie. And, once production happened, they realized, we can't afford to shoot in New York. We should have just done another one in camp. But, the movie had already started by that point. So it's like, what do you do? So they just did what the best they could, And I whenever I get to Jason Takes Manhattan, when I marathon the films, I can't help but smile because, it's a journey when you get to Jason Takes Manhattan, and you've been through all these, ebbs and flows throughout the franchise, going from, Richard Brooker and Ted White to Roy Burns and Jason coming back and this Universal Monster style Friday, and then Jason versus Carrie, and then here we are, and we settle in Vancouver or Manhattan. So I think that Jason Takes Manhattan, its legacy is it's the goodbye to the Jason that we knew and love from the Paramount era. Because after that, it's just a different Jason. It's not the same Jason to me. It's like in a different world, than those Paramount tapes. And so I think that Jason Takes Manhattan's legacy is it's the goodbye to Jason in a sense. And I don't mean that in a sad way, but it's just, it's the way of the movies, I guess. So I love Jason Takes Manhattan, and I think it's a great movie, but I don't think it's a good movie. And I know that sounds silly, but I have a feeling those of you that are watching this, you completely understand what I mean. So what do you guys think about Jason Takes Manhattan? Not in the sense of just is the movie good? I mean, of course we know it's Jason Takes Manhattan, but what are your feelings? What are your feelings about the film? How does the film make you feel? All these things I've brought up, do you sense that? Do you feel that? Or do you not have that feeling? I don't know. Maybe I'm by myself on this. Maybe I'm loony. But I think there's somebody out there that kind of gets what I'm after. So this is Christian and a Horror. I thought it'd be fun to just talk about Jason Takes Manhattan and really talk about the legacy of the Friday the 13th movies up till this point. Let me know what you guys think about the legacy of Friday the 13th in the comments section below. I love you guys. See you next time.